special gift you received.
This is your ticket.
You know who that is. And for his dedicated work helping to make sure all Massachusetts school kids have lunch to eat, the Patriots honored Adario Miranda with the surprise of a lifetime.
The Patriots organization in partnership with the NFL want to send you to the Super Bowl this year in Arizona.
Oh my God. I'm pinching myself, thinking this has to be in shame.
It was a dream that became a reality for this 16-year-old who has the gift of poise, self-reflection, and above all, service. And through Project 351, the Innovation Academy Charter School 10th grader connected with Project Bread, running annual food drives and advocating for kids around the Commonwealth to secure free lunch for this current school year. It's a gift he is sharing with others because of what he went through as a young boy.
I remember always coming home hungry, wondering what can I eat next.
Until we get to the point where we have some questions.
I'll do that.
Thank you. I think we're going to give it, seems like we have some more people just filtering in, so we're going to give it another 5 minutes, I think.
Hello, Mr. Ryan. How you doing?
Hi, Fidel. How are you?
Doing good, sir. Sorry.
No, that's okay. We have quite a bit of people still filtering in, so I think we're just going to give it a few more minutes.
Perfect.
And then we'll kick it off. Till I start seeing
Hi, this is
participants.
Tim at Daylight Aqua Store. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, I am traveling, so hopefully I don't lose you.
Okay, thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, Mark. I see a lot of my favorite people here.
Am I one of them?
Oh, you're up on the top of the list, Mark.
Wasn't sure, Ryan. That's why I asked.
Always.
You're one of my favorites too, Ryan.
Yeah, I hope so.
We've been through a lot together.
We have.
Wow, a lot of people on here.
Yeah, we still seem to be filtering in, so we're just gonna let it keep going here.
I know Fidel would rather I mute myself, so I'll just go quiet and listen in.
All good, sir.
Well,
Thanks,
everyone will
Fidel.
have an opportunity to ask questions or state their concerns or comments or anything like that at the end. Or
Appreciate this being put together. So,
I think
Thank
everyone
you.
will appreciate the news we have as well.
yeah, great.
Fidel, just I'm double checking here. There is no need to open this up as a meeting, correct?
We do have a quorum. So I see Karen, I see Chris, Carlo. Mark, I don't know if you're on the line. The select board is posted. If you wanted to call the select board to order. If not, I see Karen on the line too. You're on mute, Karen. You were on mute, Karen.
Yeah, let me try that again. I'd like to call the Reading Select Board to order. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Ryan.
Okay, I think we're gonna kick it off here. I still see some people filtering in, but I think when we get to the meat of the presentation, everyone should be here. So thank you for everyone coming tonight. We appreciate it. I know it's been a busy summer into a pretty interesting last few weeks into a month. So we do have a nice update for everyone. I just want to introduce myself for those who don't know who I am. I'm town engineer Ryan Percival. Alex Verzicki from engineering is here as well. Fidel Maltez, town manager. And we do have some people from Weston and Sampson. I see Mike Warner, as well as Ben Rollins. And then Liz from Statewide Aqua Store. If you want to just let us know who's here from the contractor and from the statewide, that'd be great.
I know Tim Gage, our construction manager, is on the line. He's traveling though, so we may lose him. I'm not sure if Luke's on the line. Luke, are you there?
Yes.
He's from Dankers Construction as well.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I appreciate that. So for those that are new to the project, I'm just going to give a very brief, and Mike, if you don't mind bringing up the presentation, that'd be great. You should be able to share, if not.
Sure. Give me a minute. See, there we go.
In the meantime, so we've just been through the introductions. We have a little bit of an agenda, and I'm just going to give a little very brief project background for those that are just joining us for the first time in our tank journey here. So we've got to the point where Auburn Street tank, we had some severe deficiencies and needed to either be painted or replaced. The town went through the process to replace the tank, and in doing so, that involved also relocating the carriers and putting up a temporary cell tower. The project, Auburn Street tank is very important to our hydraulic system and our water system in town, and also provides a lot of fire flow. And so that's why this project is very important for the town. And this is why we're here replacing the tank. So I said I promised you a brief background. It's a very brief background. What I'm going to do now is we'll just get straight into the project status update. Weston Sampson is going to present. We have a lot of pictures here so people can understand how the process is going to go and what everything looks like. And so when we're using terms of like certain different things, everyone can understand really what we're talking about. So we'll go through that briefly. There's a lot of good news about as far as the rock removal. Mike will get into that as well. And then hopefully we can wrap this up and get to questions and answers or concerns or comments and things like that. But we just really we thought this was an important time to just have this conversation about what's going on, where we're at, and where we're going to go. So Mike, if you don't mind.
Just so thank you, Ryan. Just making sure you guys can see the slides. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
Yep.
correct. Thank you.
Okay. So thanks, Ryan, and thank you everyone for coming tonight. Like Ryan said, we've got a little bit of good news towards the end of this slide, but I'll just jump in and say that the project started with the erection of the cellular monopole on the eastern part of the site. The carriers relocated or installed their equipment onto the monopole, took their equipment down from the existing tank. That tank was then demolished, as you can see here in this slide picture in the middle here. There was some soil removal that needed to be done due to some, there was as people might remember, there was some lead concentrations found in the soil from the old tank painting. And after that, soil was removed, moved on to the rock removal portion, which I know you guys all know all about it. And I want to thank you all for your patience. But the good news is that the rock removal is complete. There will be no more there will be no blasting. Not that will not be necessary. And the contractor was able to move on to prepping the site, which is where they're at now. They were able to backfill with some crushed stone, which is the picture here on the left-hand side that you can see. And then actually just, I believe it was yesterday, they poured what we're calling a mud mat, or basically they poured some concrete to kind of level out the site a little bit more. And then they will be working the rest of this week and into next week to prep the site to pour the foundation for the new tank. And that is there's a representative picture here on the right. That's expected to take that whole process is expected to go into February. And then after that, they will start pouring what we're calling the pedestal here. And it's made of concrete, and it's the structure that supports the water storage tank up in the air. If I go back a slide here, there was the steel structure that was there before, had a bulb on the top. That's where the water was actually stored. And so the concrete pedestal is what supports the actual tank. This pedestal construction is expected to take from between March and then into June of this year. And this will be there will be a lot of activity during this this process. There will be some concrete tanks coming in. So you will see some activity there of the trucks bringing in the concrete to pour. And that, so that, like I said, they were expected to be a lot more construction than, or a lot more activity and a lot more trucks than you might have seen of late. But then we move, after the pedestal is poured and completed, we move on to tank erection. And there will be less activity on the site because what they do is they will end up actually building kind of from the top down. So all of the material will be lifted up onto the top of the pedestal, and then they'll build the roof of the tank, kind of jack that up using jacks. They'll put in some paneling around the top paneling, and jack that part up and basically work their way down. So you will see very minimal activity on the site, maybe a generator, some of that noise, but we expect that the noise level and what the neighborhood will experience to be, it's not going to be continuous trucks backing up and making a lot of noise. I know that you guys have had your fair share there, so we want to try to minimize that for you.
Now, Mike, there will be a crane, correct, at some point to lift the material up on top of the pedestal. Is that correct?
That's correct, but it will be there. I don't know, Liz, do you know exactly how long? But yes, there would be a crane there.
Okay.
for?
Yeah, we have multiple cranes. The first crane will be for the beams, right at the top of the pedestal. Probably like 100-ton crane. And then after that, we'll need another crane for the pipe installation and then to lift material to the top for the rebar. And so there's be like 4 or 5 cranes throughout the
goal-
project.
Yeah, there'll also be a crane when we do the EFCO forms to form the slab for the tank set on top. So that'll be a couple times that a crane will be in for that.
Well, when you say 4 or 5 cranes, you just mean a couple of times. It's
Yeah,
not,
setups.
there's not number, there's only one crane, but it'll leave the site and then come back.
That is correct.
And the goal is to have that crane, I just want to make it clear for everyone, the goal is to have that crane off the roadway as much as possible and on the site for the laydown, correct?
Yes, all those cranes will be off the road and in the site.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, Mike, I just wanted to.
No, that's fine. Definitely, clarification is a good thing. So the tank erection is expected to take into July and August. This basically the summer of this year. Once that's installed, I believe the contractor will be doing some site piping. There's some water main that needs to be installed to come off the site, and then there's a piece of water main within the street. It's only kind of the width of the site, but there is some water main in the street that will be replaced. So the fall of this year, you will see that work occurring, but access will be allowed to the neighborhood. We just have to work. The contractor performing that work will have to work with the residents to make sure they maintain access. And then you'll see some other site work, some loaming and seeding. There's a driveway that needs to be poured. So kind of some basically site cleanup and tidying up the site. Again, that's expected to occur this year, this fall.
And I just want to jump in before we go to questions and answers, Mike, and just kind of clarify with site restoration. This is just site restoration as far as stabilizing the site, so looming and seeding and things like that, not to be confused with the process that we started with CPDC, which we're committed to following and going through to work on that open space piece. So that's like a separate. That's separate from what we're talking about tonight, but I just wanted to make sure that we're just not blanketly saying site restoration and everyone's concerned that we're not going to address the other piece, which is going through that process, that public process. So just wanted to point that out.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
No problem. Before we go to go to questions and answers, I don't know if Fidel or anyone else wanted to add anything else in at all.
I do not, Ryan.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Lacey has a question on the chat. Ryan.
Oh, I see. Let me see. Mike Lacey says, can we talk about how we determine when police detail is needed? Beacon and Auburn Street become very congested in the so we will work with the public safety officer and public safety in general and determine at what point we need to bring in a police detail. Once we start getting in on moving a lot of trucks, you'll definitely see police details out there for sure. And if we do have to shut the road down either one way or two ways when they're doing a portion of the work for a short period of time, you'll see police details out there as well. So we work hand in hand with the public safety to make sure we determine when we need to have those police details. But those are the general conditions of why and when we need police details. Mark, I see your hand up.
Are we at the Q&A section of the?
We are. Go for it.
Okay. How about an estimate? Best, worst case scenario, when we're gonna see these antennas come off of this temporary tower, moved over to the tank, and the removal of this temporary tower. Again, I know you can only estimate best worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's a great question. And so Fidel and the team, we've been working, we put out an RFP for the new water tank, and we got back 4 responses. Dish Network, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon, correct, Fidel? And so we're working on finalizing those contracts with them. Everything's going well. They've been a really great partner. And so one of the constraints that they have is that they need to get on before inclement weather, right? So we want to start transitioning them over hopefully in August. And then the breakdown, how long it takes them to come over and break down, I'm hoping if they can get over before winter, then you start to see that tower breakdown around that time. It's hard to say. The carriers haven't really given us a time frame, but they are requesting to get in there as early as they can.
Yeah, so I think, Ryan, you just painted the best case scenario, right? What you hope for. Worst case,
Worst case is which I'm confident we're not going to run into worst case, right? So we're in a good position now. We're going vertical. We have a lot more control. We're out of the ground. Weather is also, against us a little bit, but we've planned for that. And so, worst case scenario is, we miss the window, right? We get into the winter and the carriers can't come over. That puts the town in a little bit of a different position with the contracts and rents, but that puts the carriers in the next window, which is late spring, and then you start to see something come down then. I'm not confident in the fact that we're going to hit that worst case scenario. I'm really confident that the schedule we have now from statewide is a really reasonable schedule. So, and that's what we're shooting for. We don't want to go over that schedule. That's what we're shooting for. So
Yeah, and Mark, if it helps to hear it from statewide, they're on the line, so feel free.
Tim?
As far as pouring the base, we're looking to try to get that in within the next 2 weeks. We may have to watch the weather for the day. We're also talking with Phoenix to push their schedule up 2 weeks to get some of their guys moved in there around March 1st if they can to get going. So we're pushing them a little bit. So we're looking to move up as much as we can as far as our time frame.
Now, Tim was mentioning Phoenix is the fabricators that come in and do the pedestal mark. So they're trying to push them up a little earlier based on their schedule. So every little bit of increment that we get adjusted on that schedule helps us on the back end. But right now, the schedule we have, we're pretty confident on.
I have one more question, and I'll let everyone else add it so you can be done with me. And that is, if there's going to be particularly disruptive days or weeks, I'd appreciate, we do have an email chain, at least up here in the neighborhood.
Yep.
If we can get some type of notice by email, we'll make sure it gets distributed, unless you have the list and want to distribute yourself. Either way works. But if in anticipation of any of that type of work coming, if we can get a heads up, a little bit in advance so we can prepare for it and anticipate it, it would be helpful.
Yeah, we can 100% do that for you.
Yeah, you've been great about that, Ryan, by the way. So I don't want you to think that.
Yeah, I mean, we went a little bit of radio silent out there with the rock hammering, but that doesn't change. That was every single day. I'm sure you guys are very aware of it. That was the most disruptive that you'll see on that job by far.
Right.
And I'm confident.
As soon as we figure out a day for the foundation pour, we'll get with the town and Alex and that, ahead of time, because that will be, I think it's about 260 yards. Liz, was that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that's when you'll start to see, to Mike Lacey's question, that's when you'll start seeing a lot more trucking coming in because they have to do that pour. And so you may or may not see.
That'll just be a one day pour, as far as that. And then the next big pour Phoenix's pours will only be about 4 trucks at a time, and I think they're about every 3 to 4 days on a pour, something like that. And then we've got our top pour is like 390, so that would be the next big day where you're going to see a lot of trucks pulling in, and that'll just be a 1-day pour also.
And that's all going to require a pump truck, correct?
That is correct. Yep.
Okay. So Mark, we'll make sure we get that information out to you. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
There's a few more questions in the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed
Take
them.
a big of those now. I think I could hit the first one. Karen Herrick, I think that the question is related to the grant that we just got from MassDOT. We don't have a schedule for that yet. We're still waiting for contract documents and things like that. So as soon as we have a schedule for the sidewalks on Parkview and Auburn, we will absolutely let everyone know. But it's we're not ready yet to share a schedule on those.
So I think we have a question in here as well about repaving some of the roadways. We will repave the areas that were disturbed with the water main work for sure on Auburn Street. Beacon Street is a little bit trickier. Portion of Beacon Street is private, so we have to be very careful with that as far as how town funds are spent and if any work is done on that road. So there may be an opportunity there depending on what our budget looks like. And again, I have to have that conversation with Fidel, but there may be an opportunity there with the budget and maybe some additional work down the road. But we are very well aware of what the neighborhood has gone through, and we'll look at trying to do something with some of those roadways that the heavy traffic has come down. And that sort of leads us into what Carlo Bacci is asking about where we are with the budget. We're looking really good, I think, Mike. I would say we're on budget. We always look at that contingency as our buffer, and I think we're doing very well not to have to go into that contingency as of yet. So there is a little bit that we have gone into it, but not to the extent that we were looking at. So we're doing very well on that budget. So that's a good question. Just going to go through the chat here. I don't see anyone else's hands are up right now. The last question that we have here is how did we get past blasting? And that's a great question. So as you know, the project started off with hammering. The rock was very, very dense. The contractor was having a difficult time being able to break up large pieces. They elected not to blast at first because of the disruption of blasting and the need to do inspections in the homes. So they decided to hammer. Hammering took a little bit longer, so they shifted their means and methods and tried to drill and split. They were able to, with a little bit more force from the hammer, get down to where they needed to, and within a little bit of an adjustment with the foundation itself, a few inches, we were able to make that adjustment to get where we needed to be. So they worked very hard at doing that. It was just unfortunate that they ran into that very, very hard rock. I hope that answers the question. I know there was, I do want to address the elephant that was in the room there, that everyone did receive notices prematurely for blasting. We were aware of that. We sent out information on how that transpired. That was basically walked back. We didn't need the blast. I think they were sent out a little bit prematurely. And then we rolled that back and got a new plan. So we dealt with that internally. So I do apologize for everyone getting a notice that shouldn't have been giving out that early or at all until we approved it. don't see any more hands, and did I miss anyone else? Did I miss any in the chat? Did I get all the questions there in the chat?
Yeah, it looks like you got all the messages in the chat, Ryan. I don't see
So-
any more coming in.
So moving forward, what you can expect from the town, we will reach out as much as we can. I have been reaching out to Mark and Jackie, and they've been great about sending out information through the neighborhood. That's been working out pretty well. But if that does not work out, please, anyone, feel free to give me a call. I'm happy to talk about my favorite project in town. Sometimes I feel, please just call me, because sometimes I definitely have more information, and I can definitely clarify some things that may be misconstrued. So, and I can also be the bearer of bad news too. So I wear two hats. But I think generally moving forward, we will try to send out all those updates. You heard from Statewide Aquastore, we have a few milestones that we're going to have to hit there. But in general, I'm happy to say the rock excavation is done. So no one has to listen to that anymore. And now we are going vertical with the tank, which is an exciting part of the project. So. And just so I can close the loop on everything else, please pay attention and look forward to a little bit more discussion on those, on the open space area. Okay.
Thank you very much.
No problem. And please feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
Thank you, Ryan.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Take care.
Thanks, good night.
Thank you, Mike.
See you, Ryan. See you, everyone.